Number one, that when God created the world, there were no white people at all. There were no Chinese. There were no Indians. There were no Italians, no Romans, no Germans, no Poles, no Finns, no Swedes, no Goths, no Vandals, no Visigoths, no Vikings. There were only black people. Only black people. They were probably at the time darker than you. So, if you read any sacred text and it says that you were created in the image of God and in the likeness of God, it means God is what color? Black. And anytime anybody gives you a God who doesn't look like you, you give him that God back. You say, you know what? Yeah, your God looks okay, but just take him. Because at the dawn of time, there were no other people on earth but us. None. Significantly, white women are injecting their behind with melatonin so that they can have what they call steatopedia, the unusual accumulation of fat on the black woman's behind. You know? Whereas white women have what we call ironing board backside, you know, completely flat. There is nothing there. Yeah?
Hello kings and queens, welcome to my YouTube channel, and we are doing it the African way every day, every time. Now, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here. You are supporting me. I love you. If you are a new subscriber, this is the place to be. Kindly don't forget to subscribe here and like this video. Okay, in today's video, we are going into class of Dr. Kihura. I came across this video of him teaching us, teaching black people, teaching Africans about the difference of melanin between the black melanin and the white melanin. First of all, before we continue, I want to know something about melanin. Both black people and white people have melanin, but the type, amount, and distribution of melanin in the skin differ, leading to the variation in skin between different groups. Melanin is the pigment responsible for the color of skin, hair, and eyes in humans and animals. It is produced by specialized cells called melanocytes, which are found in the skin's outer layer, epidermis. There are two primary types of melanin: emulanin, responsible for darker skin, black and brown hair, and brown eyes. And there is pheomelanin, contributes to lighter skin tone, red hair, and lighter eyes. Black people, individuals with darker skin, such as those of African descent, tend to have a higher concentration of eomelanin, especially in their skin. Emulanin provides more protection against the harmful effects of UV radiation from the sun. This higher melanin content contributes to the darker pigmentation of their skin and offers greater natural protection from sunburn and skin cancer caused by UV exposure. White people with lighter skin, typically of European descent, produce less eomelanin and more pheomelanin, which leads to lighter skin tones due to the lower melanin content. White people have less natural protection from UV rays, which increase the risk of sunburn and skin damage. In summary, the main difference between black and white people melanin is the type and amount produced, which influence skin color and skin ability to protect itself from UV radiation. Now, let's go into class of Dr. Kihura and learn about the difference between melanin of black people and white people. And then we're gonna come here and talk and react how we do it.
Third, I want to excite you in this word called melanin. Melanin. Who knows this word? Who of you knows melanin? M-E-L-L-A-N-I-N. Melanin, anybody? Huh? Okay, you haven't. Yes, she knows because she works for the Virus Institute. And you know because you're a teacher. But what about you? You haven't started learning, particularly if you're a black person, unless you know what melanin is. Melanin is a carbon that does not deteriorate over time. Melanin is your black skin pigmentation. Or in plants, it is equivalent to chlorophyll. But it is the most powerful thing that you can have. In terms of people, we gauge your importance on the amount of melanin you have. So we say the darker the better. The darker the better. Melanin is produced by an enzyme. You know an enzyme? Called melatonin. 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 So, you need melatonin to make melanin. But for melatonin to make melanin, it needs a catalyst enzyme that we call tyrosine 7. So you have tyrosine 7 to work with melatonin to produce melanin. If you have internet and you look for melatonin, you will find there are over 100,000 products made out of melatonin, basically made out of black skin. So, melatonin, melanin, and tyrosine 7. If you have no tyrosine 7, you can't have black skin. You can't. And in biology, if you have no black skin, they say you are depigmented, demelanized, or you are an albino. Yeah? You understand that? Yeah, Sebo, you know you have lights in the car. Yeah, just in case. So, if you have no black skin, you are an albino. In biology, white people are called albinos. And the word white comes from the Latin word albinus, which means white. So in biology, you have somebody who is depigmented, which means he has no pigment. Demelanized, who has no melanin. And if you are depigmented or no melanin, it means you are an albino. If you have melanin, it means you are a black person. One, it protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun and the energy from the earth. So, when the sun hits your body, certain rays are allowed in, certain rays are filtered out. It stops you getting skin cancer. Then it protects you against the energy from the earth, which means if you are standing, it anchors you. Like in electricity, you have earthing. Yeah? When something is earthed, it's not hit by lightning. You know that. So, if you are standing here with a white person and lightning struck, it would pick a white person, throw him there, you would remain standing tall, blessed of the sun, because of your melanin. So, number one, protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Number two, protects you against the energy from the earth. It anchors you. Number three, melanin is responsible for healing. When you cut yourself, if you cut yourself, you see blood, you see something red, they may be white. And when it starts healing, a dark skin comes and covers it, or a dark patch comes and covers it. That dark patch is melanin. Melanin sends reinforcement around the area that is affected and brings about healing. So melanin is also responsible for healing. Melanin is responsible for a sleeping cycle, how you sleep. If you don't have melanin, you don't sleep properly. You have what they call insomnia. Melanin controls fatigue. So you are not tired most of the time. So other people who don't have melanin, they have fatigue. If they travel in a plane, they get what they call jet lag. Then melanin is also responsible for something else, what we call a corresponding cosmic connection. It links you to the universe. You begin feeling something. You feel energy pulses. You know, there is a lot of energy that is here that you don't see. Energy you don't see, but you can harness it. For example, if somebody calls you on phone, you don't see the sound traveling in the air, but it comes to your phone. So there is a ultraviolet, ultra high frequency signal that comes to your telephone. Are you with me? So, for example, one way you can test a corresponding cosmic connection is when a black person hears a music pulse, a sound pulse, an energy sound. So if I say na 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 na, oh Africa, Africa, na 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 na, oh Africa, straight away you feel the rhythm even before you hear it pulsate through your veins. If you are a scientist, you look for science, yeah, and you know what science is. Science is a phenomenon that is provable. Number one. Number two, it is subject to experimentation. Number three, if that experimentation is carried out in the same environment, you will achieve the same results. So science is not belief. Belief is the absence of fact. Belief is the absence of fact. I don't say I believe black people were the first people to populate the world. No. I know black people were the first people to populate the world because I can prove it. Do you understand that? You not only need to understand but also overstand. Because maybe if you understand, you remain under. You need to come up, yeah, and overstand. So, here we go. Gregory Mendel is the father of genetics. If you study genetics, you are studying the science of Gregory Mendel. And that science of Gregory Mendel is about recessive genes and dominant genes. It's about genes. It is about what produces what. If you have a child with a white person, God forbid, and the child is born here, at birth the child will have less white genes and more black genes. As the sun hits this child, the body will begin to produce more melanin and the child will begin to darken down. The nose will become wider, taking more hot air. You know, the eyes will adjust and the hair will become good, just like these sisters. This is known in biology as phenotype adaptation. Phenotype, you know, the core and response of the environment. You react to the environment. But for you to react to the environment, you must have melanin. Because if you don't have melanin, you can get cancer. So that is the phenotype adaptation. It means that you, who has melanin is the most incredible, most powerful thing that you can have. You have no idea what melanin is, what being black means, what having black skin is. White people today, that's why I said go and look for this, melatonin. You will find thousands and thousands of products made out of melatonin. White people inject their lips to have fresh lips, like a black woman's or a black man's. Because white people have no lips. Their lips are almost like this. You know that. Those of you have seen white people. You know? They are cut short. There wasn't enough material. But for you, being the first person, you utilize all the material to make yourself into a full person. Yeah? White people are... Melanin gives you dominant genes. Dominant genes. Now, you know the science of genetics. Yeah? You know genetics, genes. That science started around 1822 with a gentleman called Gregory Mendel. Gregory Mendel. Gregory Mendel was an Austrian from Austria, and he was a Catholic priest from the Augustine monks. He was an Augustine monk. Augustine lived around the 2nd, 3rd, 4th century, no, 4th century AD, and he was the black person who lived in North Africa in a place called Hippo Regius, who wrote the laws of the Catholic Church. Because most of you think that, you know, white people brought religion and they, you know, and they taught you how to read and write. That's all not true. That's what we call his story, the white man's side of the story. It's not our story. It's not true. So I'm just telling you that Augustine of Hippo was this bishop who wrote the laws of the Catholic Church. Now, the followers of Augustine are called Augustinian monks. And one of the Augustinian monks was Gregory Mendel, who lived in Austria around 1822. And in Austria, he was looking at genes, because at that time, white people were wondering where humanity started. Who were the first people to populate the world? And they thought that white people were the first people to populate the world. And at the time, Christianity was very heavy in Europe. It's not the same now. You know, if you go in a church in England, you will probably find about 2 or 3 people, the priest and his assistant and maybe one other person, unless it's Christmas. You know, so they were first looking in Europe. Then they couldn't find, the oldest they could go was 40,000 years. Then they went to Asia, the oldest they could go was 900,000 years. And then they came to Africa. And the oldest they could go in Africa was about 1.5 million years. So, Mendel wanted to find out, using genes, inherited characteristics. Because, you know, when a man meets a woman, in Africa we say you have a spiritual congress. European people say you have sex. In Africa we don't have sex. We don't even have a word for it. We call it a spiritual congress. But when a man meets a woman, they exchange first genes. And the first genes they exchange is called nuclear DNA. And you share, you know, almost equal sequence. Significantly, white women are injecting their behind with melatonin so that they can have what they call cytopenia, the unusual accumulation of fat on the black woman's behind, you know? Whereas white women have what we call ironing board backside, you know, completely flat. There is nothing there. Yeah? So there is nothing more beautiful than being a black person. Nothing more powerful than being a black person. There is nothing more beautiful. Listen to me. White people, you know, most of the time, as black people, we hate ourselves. And unless we deal with that hatred among us black people, we cannot achieve anything. You can't become a scientist, you can't become a historian, you can't become successful, you can become only successful to a limit, where everybody is trying to pull you down. But why do we hate ourselves? Because we were told in the Bible that we were cursed. Haven't you heard that? The curse of Ham? That we were cursed as the sons of Ham. And yet, cursed in the Bible, Noah, who was a drunkard, cursed Canaan. He didn't curse, he cursed one son of black people, but not all. Because Noah was also a black person, according to the Bible. And, you know, hopefully we'll come, you know, and cover this. So, we hate ourselves. And even in everyday language, if I want to cheat you, I blackmail you. If I want to put you on a bad list, I'll blacklist you in a what book? In a black book. Haven't you heard that? That will put you in a black book. Teachers used to have black books. Do they still have them? Yeah? Change their name. Call them white books or, you know, danger books. Now, if it is a bad spot on the road, it is called a what spot on the road? A black spot. If it is a bad trading day, it is called a black day. If it is in a legal market, it is called a what market? A black market. Which means if there are black people in the market, then the market is illegal. You are not supposed to trade. Yeah? As long as you see black people, it's illegal. You know? So, we wear black for funerals. And when we wear mosquito nets for weddings, what color are they? Hey, you have not seen the wedding dresses. What do you think they make them out of? Mosquito net, except there are many of them piled together. So stay away from them when you get married. Huh? Don't go and get a mosquito net and then they have a long one so that when it's walking, it keeps cleaning the street. Yeah? Number one, that when God created the world, there were no white people at all. There were no Chinese. There were no Indians. There were no Italians, no Romans, no Germans, no Poles, no Finns, no Swedes, no Goths, no Vandals, no Visigoths, no Vikings. There were only black people. Only black people. They were probably at the time darker than you. So, if you read any sacred text and it says that you are created in the image of God and in the likeness of God, it means God is what color? Black. And anytime anybody gives you a God who doesn't look like you, you give him that God back. You say, you know what? Yeah, your God looks okay, but just take him. Because at the dawn of time, there were no other people on earth but us. None. And you know, the most interesting story is that story unfolded around this river that passes through your district. The Nile. That is where humanity began. To the extent that UNESCO, United Nations Educational Scientific Committee Organization, in volume 2, chapter 1, it says, as a result of the work of Professor Like and other subsequent work, it leads us to conclude that more than 150,000 years ago, beings morphologically identical with the man of today were living in the area of the Great Lakes, at the foothills of the mountains of the moon, at the source of the Nile, in the land of the gods, and nowhere else. UNESCO, nowhere else. Humanity went through 5 stages. The first stages are known as Australopithecine, black. Where were they living? Where you are living. How old? How long ago? 5.5 million years ago. Who was living in Europe at that time? No one. Who was living in Asia at that time? No one. Who was living in America North? None. America South? None. Bismarck Archipelago? No one. Australia? Tonga? None. Haiti? Fiji? Samoa? Who was living there? No one. Humanity was only here. 3.5 million years ago, Homo habilis. Where was he living? Here. Was he living elsewhere? No. 1.5 million years. Humanity at the stage of Homo erectus, the African that walks upright. Where is he living? Here. He lives here to populate the world.
Now, black people have more advantage than white people in the terms of the skin tone and skin melanin. And I get to understand that's why black people are getting a lot of attention, and they can live anywhere, and they are capable of taking harsh conditions. This making them hard. But that does not mean that the life of a black person must be hard because of their skin tone or skin melanin. I think the life of a black person must be softer because he can handle anything. He can endure anything. He can live anywhere. He can start from the bush. He can start from which continent and make it. Black people has a lot of chance to make it in this life than white people. But I don't know where the problem went. I don't know what happened. Because if we were the first people in the face of the earth, Jesus himself was black. We had the top people, the richest people, like the one from Mali, the richest, black. We had the most educated people, blacks. What has made right now that we were just brainwashed by, few white people who came across Africa, and they turned us like we cannot do anything. We are being controlled. We don't have that brains. We don't have anymore. We can't think anymore. But I have seen cases where white people love black ladies or black men. I think it's because of the melanin. And we need. I don't interfere with that. They need to intermarry so that we can make each and everyone greater. Concoction. Let's people intermarry. I've seen where a country like Japan or wanting to pay even black people to come and impregnate their women. We did that video sometimes back. So black people has a lot of advantage than the white people, according to me. But I don't have much to say about this video. I want you to comment down there if you have read something on this video, on this clip, because this was about Dr. Kihura teaching us about the black melanin and the white melanin. Of course, for us who didn't know about that, now we know. Tell me what you think on the comment section. I am the Kenyan Beast, of course. We are doing it the African way every day, every time.